Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. Here we go, indeed. You're watching Seeing the Unseen with Christopher LaPrath. My name's Kenan, his son and the producer of the show. Now, for anyone who's out there joining us for the very first time or any time at all, whichever platform you're joining us on, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, be sure to say something in the chat so I know you're here. We get to everyone in order. The first time there's no charge for readings, but going forward after that, it's $10 per card. Or you can pay $100 and cover the entire month, which we run 3 shows per week. It's normally Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Arizona time. So that's all I have to say about that. A quick thought before I turn it over to Christopher for the evening. On tonight's title, what really haunts us? Or what really haunts people? Well, really anything can. It's up to us to decide to move through the pain of the past or the potential fear of the future. The key in doing that is to remain present while staying focused on the experience that we do want. So I'll just remind you all, keep going. You've got this. We're creating this life. And thanks for listening. Enjoy the show. Here's Christopher.
Hey, have a blessed Wednesday night. I start every show with a type of prayer in the form of incense. And this is where your prayers are heard, but mainly by you, as well as any higher source or power or whatever it is that you believe in. And I light this incense in helping you resolve and smooth over any past or present challenges. Because we all have them. They're all here to help us grow. And we grow tremendously. I heard a really good illustration or a really good story where a master was asked, why do we keep coming back here? And he used the experience of every one of you women that have had children on the show. You swear you'll never have another child because I've understood it to be quite challenging, painful. But then a year or two later, you think, you know what? I think I really want to do that again. And I really think trust the divine, that you're here for a reason. You chose these lessons and you're doing really well with them, believe it or not. So what are we haunted by? Well, I wrote a book, Trestle Creek, Things That Dead Fear. But it wasn't so much about the ghosts as it was about the fear of, for instance, being stuck or being stuck in worries or having these incredible worries. And the fact is, worry never climbed a hill. Worry never paid a bill. Worry never done a thing you thought it oughta. Worry doesn't add anything, especially to our preparedness. It diverts our attention and our energy from the present. It adds to our emotional burden and actually heightens anxiety. So ghosts are relatively easy to get rid of compared to worries. But the fact is, first, you have to recognize that you do have a ghost or you do have worries. And then you go, wait a minute, this is a waste of spiritual energy. And that's one of the main things about this. Research indicates that 85% of what subjects worried about never happened. And of the things that did happen, 79% of that was actually manageable. Meaning that 97% of what people worry about is a product of your mind. Stop buying that produce. Just simply be aware of it. And then worries also can be used to go, wait a minute, what's behind this? Where did this come from? Did I inherit this? Is this what my mother did? Is this what my father did? Is this what my ancestors did? That's part of it. And so let's pull up the group card tonight, called Lifetimes, Past Lives, Nostalgia, and Triggers. The characteristic of reviewing or ruminating over the past, or reminiscing over the past, and what does that bring up? What is that doing for you? Are you bringing up the lessons to gain from them, or are you losing energy by letting them drain you or making you sad? So you can use these as having a more intimate look at the experiences and lessons that you've learned over this course of existence, and not just this existence. Because, like a birthing mother with several children, she's chosen to go through a few births over a period of years. Perhaps we've chosen to be here many, many times because of the benefits that it gives us, a lot like our children and the benefits that our children give us. So that's why I do private readings. I don't really get in a lot sometimes into past lives or karmic information during the show. Sometimes I do, but then I usually have to call you or we book a reading to get more into depth of it. But this is releasing old patterns and old imprints, and being able to locate the root cause of it so those worries go away. You know, Lana and Diane, you'll remember this. When I was a little child, so Lana is my cousin, and we would go over to her mother's house quite often, and the families would get together and we'd play music, and we'd always share a huge meal, and it would just be a fantastic get together. But I remember my aunt, Lana's mother, and Lana, you can correct me on this, and Diane, you can correct me on this, but as a little kid, what stood out, and maybe if any of you older remember this, but we used to buy fly paper. It was yellow, and it was extremely sticky. And I remember my aunt had it hanging in her kitchen. And if I recall, it was above the table. But we were plagued with flies, right? It was northern Idaho. Flies all the time, or mosquitoes, bugs. And it was really before the days of air conditioning. So it was important, we had to keep the windows open. But that fly paper was covered with flies. As a little kid, I was like, I'd look up and I'd see all these flies and then the food below. And I was like, ugh. But it's one of those memories. But my point of telling you this story is, please, get out your fly paper, because these worries are just bothersome flies. And I don't care how you imagine it. I mean, this is just one way, one of millions of ways to imagine your worries sticking to this fly paper and gone, dead, and not bothering your meal anymore. Okay? So I had to share that because when Ken and I were coming up with this topic, I think that's really important. The other thing I wanted to share with you that is along this lines is I have this poster by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and you can look this up on the internet to download it for yourself. But it says, for what it's worth, it's never too late, or in my case, too early, to be whoever you want to be. There's no time limit. Start whenever you want. You can change or stay the same. There are no rules to this thing. We can make the best or the worst of it. I hope you make the best of it. I hope you see things that startle you. I hope you feel things you've never felt before. I hope you meet people who have a different point of view. I hope you live a life you're proud of. And if you're not, I hope you have the courage to start over again. And do that without those worries. Okay, love this. And Dawn, welcome. First on the show tonight. I appreciate you being here. Dawn, I saw this fashion. I don't know if you've all seen it, but there's this new fashion where you take this really nice dress and then you wrap it in clear packing tape and you wear it. And that's the fashion. So think of you ladies on the show taking your favorite dress and then just wrapping it in packing tape and going to a party. That's one of the latest fashions that people are doing. Well, Dawn, what I'd recommend is metaphorically wrapping yourself up in that fly paper, because you're picking up energies that aren't yours. Especially from work. So you're wanting to move up, you're wanting to do something different. And these crabs are trying to pull you back down into the cage. I've said this on the show before. When you start growing spiritually, or even you're very capable of doing something much more lucrative, much more rewarding, something that you really love, then the people at work or where you work try to pull you down, or at least don't encourage you. And you're picking up energies that aren't yours. So the cruelty card is about swords. It's the Nine of Swords. Swords are symbolic of thoughts, or thoughts coming in from the outside. You don't stab yourself with a sword, but other people stab other people with swords, and they do it with their thoughts. So clear that energy. Clear it. Be mindful of it. This is not yours. It is absolutely have nothing to do with yours. Now, the only one I don't, Melanie, welcome to the show. So I'm looking at the list of, Kat, Jared, Ashley, Lana, Diane, Rochelle, Marilyn and Abby, Marilyn Pitts and Dawn, you. All of you have this heightened awareness. And it's literally, Dawn, putting up that fly paper, but wearing it so the flies don't enter you, or you don't suck in a fly. I've actually done that before, and I think everybody on the show has, right? At one time or the other. But you're not internalizing it. They just stay on the outside, and you can send them on their way. It's just a matter of being aware of it and returning it. Not mine. And if you need help, give me a call. Or if you want to go into it further a little bit, let me know. Oh, and if you're worried about someone else, oy. Where were you taught to worry about someone else? In our society, we're taught to worry, or it just sometimes comes naturally. But remember, when you are worrying, it absolutely does nothing to help the situation, and it's actually feeding. You're sending more energy to worry about for that person rather than a healing, rather than a solution. And it keeps you out of the present to actually see what the situation is that's really going on. I've had people come up 10, 20 years later after reading and go, you were right. And I had to be a little tough with them. Like 20 years before, when I told them the truth, they weren't ready to hear it. But you know what? It was still the important thing to do. So, all right, my dear Marilyn. And again, Dawn, call me or text me if you have any questions. Wow. So if you're new on the show, what I do is I shuffle through the deck, right? I just randomly shuffle through the deck, and whatever card falls out is I've always believed that your higher self, your source, has picked a card for what it is for your best and highest. So Dawn, you had this is really interesting. So you had the 9 of Swords, and then Marilyn, you one-upped her by 1 sword. You've got the 10 of Swords. And do you see where these swords, this card even highlights my point. These swords are hanging above the head, entering the head. It's these thoughts. Okay, so Marilyn, I'm going to ask you to put back on your nursing hat, or your nursing uniform. There are visiting hours for patients, right? And when it's not visiting hours, you do not allow people to come in. It's not for the best and highest of the patient. There are even some hospitals that don't allow plants in the hospital. My point of telling you this is, you in no uncertain terms get that person out of the room or even get them out of the hospital, and sometimes you may even have to call security. This is important for you to call in security in regards to cleaning Larry's field. He's got you don't have to tell him this, but so what are you haunted by? Or what haunted by what? There are actually a couple of spirits that are not welcome during visitor hours, but especially after visitor hours. But there's also these thoughts. These are like energetic swords. So you have progressed, you have some amazing stones, you have salt. There are tools you can use, but it's your intention. I'm going to talk to everybody. It's your intention about cleaning the energy around these things. Absolutely getting them out. They're not service to you or Larry, especially Larry. So it's about stepping up. There's anywhere, Marilyn, there's this it's like a lingering smell in the area of defeat with Larry. It's not you. So just get busy, just clean that area. Okay? Yeah, and the thing is don't question what to do, just do it. You'll know. This is the Hierophant. This is the knower. You just will know what to do. Okay, my dear Marilyn and Abby. Marilyn, you have no ego. You have no anywhere where you are comparing yourself to people that claim to be in the know, who are in their ego, and where there might be any fear of you appearing like that. You will never appear like that. But this is asking you to step up. You're the real thing. You're a good speaker, especially like one-on-one. So when you're talking to one person, you're a huge help to them. When you're speaking in a group, focus on one person in the audience and then move to another. And it will make it so much more conversational. The reason I'm telling you this is speaking more, teaching more, and taking the authoritative position. Absolutely the authoritative position. Years ago, my teacher would tell me what was going on with me. And I'd go, yes, but blah, 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 blah. And all she would do is she'd go like this. She would do that downward look. She wouldn't have to say a word. And I knew that she called me out. And I really had to take a look at it. This is because you come from kindness. You come from truth. It's what people need to hear in order to change. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. You cannot say the right thing to the wrong person. So this is you stepping up, being more courageous in your teaching, in your writing. It's your choice, but this is where you're moving. I know it's your choice. It's just coming down the pike more. Okay, my dear Abby. this is some, I know this sounds strange, but there's a grandmother coming through. Maybe I need to call you on this one, but there's a grandmother coming through talking about a tea party. And to have a tea party to where you are absolutely allowing your pure imagination to come through and to come up and to play. So maybe have Ashley over, have some friends over, and literally have a tea party. And it's about the play. So what I get with this is absolute joy. It's experiencing this joy of make-believe that isn't really make-believe. And it will help get you out of any rigidity or any rigid thinking. And you're just going to simply play. Or any judgment. Oh, no, you can't drink the tea like this, you have to drink the tea like this. It's getting out of rigidity, right? It's about playing. And yeah, I'll call you on this one. Melanie, thanks for being here. How did you hear about the show, Melanie? Everybody welcome Melanie. Yeah, let us know, Melanie, how you heard about the show. We'd love to hear about it and welcome you. But
She says she used to be neighbors.
Awesome. I'm glad you joined us tonight. You know what? There comes a time, Melanie, when I don't know, pretty much everybody on the show, maybe at one time or another, have been told that they're a terrible parent. And this is letting go of the worry of any parenthood or any children that you have. Know that you are a great mother. You have been a great mother. And change any worry for or about your children to a blessing. And know that you're a really good mother. And this is about the group card tonight, which was about past lives, nostalgia, and triggers, and letting go. Letting go of the past. You don't remember the 4th grade spelling test that you flunked. You do remember now, maybe how to spell the words that you missed. Maybe you got a D or a C on the spelling test, but you definitely learned how to spell those words that you missed, and you still spell them correctly today. It's why you don't remember them. Let these go. Know and trust your motherhood, and send only blessings to your children. Your prayers are being answered. And you've got this huge line of amazing women behind you, from your grandmother, great grandmother, that they're there to assist you. And the reason I know that is when I see these orbs of light, they are there. Now, maybe this is to acknowledge any lights that you've been seeing out of the corner of your eye. It's not glaucoma, okay? You're not losing your sight, but you have their actual spirits or angels around to help you, however you want to term that. Okay, my dear Rochelle. Okay, Rochelle. It goes right along with what we were talking about, the worries, right? The guilt. Anyone trying to make you wrong, to solidify their viewpoint or to solidify their belief system, are you willing to let go of that? Anywhere where you have said, I coulda, shoulda, I woulda, I could have done that, I should have done that, I should have said that. Anywhere where you've done that, are you willing to release, clear, destroy, and uncreate all of that energy right now? Anywhere where there's any guilt about you should be doing better, or any of that judgment, release, clear, destroy, and uncreate that. Highly recommend that. You'll notice a much more clearer mind after the show tonight. It's like literally clearing it away. Then there are some people that live by feeling guilty. It's like they're addicted to it. Be free of the need to change it. That's their belief system. It's maybe where they're comfortable at now. There's really nothing you can do other than tell them, well, that's not really your fault. But they take those words and do what they want with them, if that makes sense. They take your words, but be free of being guilty for not relieving their guilt. Right? It's kind of like a cold or a virus. Be free of hanging around people that are guilty, because that can and sometimes does rub off. And that's part of some of the heaviness that you feel at times is not your guilt, but you're hanging around people that are guilty. Or people that feel guilt, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, Diney. So this is definitely a trip to Idaho. It's the Hermit, but this is like a camping trip. And it doesn't necessarily be Idaho, but it's getting out in nature. It is, maybe go to see Lana. She'll put up a tent for you in her yard. With a bucket. So you get that camping but you really needed to get close to nature. I mean, it is extremely important for you to get close to nature. So maybe you and Lana can plan a trip or something. But it's just getting out and being in the joy of nature. But I don't know what the thing is with camping. Or even when you go to bed at night, literally set up in your mind a camp, like whether it's a great memory, um, but camping is really important for you. I don't know why that is. Anyway, maybe I can talk to you about it later, or talk to Lan about it. But there's something with camping that is coming up and is important for you to do. Okay, my dear Lanny, here we go. Okay. First of all, you know, when Matt and Mark were growing up, they never fought. Kids fight. It's simply not getting involved or taking sides, right? You had to be the mediator. You know, when I had to split a candy bar, one divided, the other decided. It was a matter of not getting involved emotionally in the fight. So this is removing yourself from anybody fighting, or even fighting with themselves, or fighting with what they want to do, or deciding to do, or what is the best direction for them to take. Sometimes they're fighting with themselves. Simply stepping back and observing and waiting for them to ask you. If you give them your advice while they're in the middle of the fight, you could get punched. Okay? So this is bringing your energy back to you, allowing them to come to you for guidance. In the meantime, just watch them fight, whether they're fighting with somebody else or trying to draw you into a fight, or battling with themselves. Wait until they ask you. Because the best thing you could do is just to send them blessed energy and just to pray. And not take any of it on. Ashley, my dear, existence. What is the term for, what is the definition of existential? You can look it up. Kennan's going to look up, the producer of my show is going to look up existentialism. So, like a few days ago, I shared this story that Ashley had texted me. I read it to you, but I'll share it with you again, where they went camping with a group of people. And when they got there, there was this beautiful open field, and Ashley was moved to go offer a watermelon to the fairies in the area, in the field. And all of the other campers were kind of making fun of you, right, Ashley? Or they were kind of laughing. And then that night was this torrential rainstorm. And where you were camping was actually a partial swamp, right? If I recall the story. And your tent was the only one that didn't even get wet. Everyone else's tent literally was floating away. So, exit, exorcist, existentialism. Sorry, it's been a long day. It's a form of philosophical inquiry that explores the issue of human existence. Existentialist philosophers explore questions related to the meaning, purpose, and value of human existence. This has been a little bit more serious about it not being just your imagination, the things that you've experienced or the things that you're moving into. I'm very, like, if people have a ghost around them, I'm very serious about it. Like, especially if it's haunting them or there are some serious things going on. Those things do not belong there. If you had a rat in your house, you're going to set some traps. You're going to get rid of the rat. Some of these energies that come in are very invasive and they're very serious. They do exist. And I'm not joking about it when I'm talking to you right now. There are people, if you talk to them about fairies, they're going to think you're crazy. You know what? So what? They exist. It's extremely narrow-minded of people to think that we're the only ones that exist on this planet when there are thousands of animals that haven't even yet been discovered yet. There are hundreds of thousands of insects that we really know nothing about. Plants. We don't know anything about the ocean. We know maybe 5% about the ocean. This is absolutely getting a little bit more serious about your viewpoints and standing up for them. And not being airy-fairy about them. Like, this is standing up for what you know is true. And it will help other people stand up for what they know is true. But this is broadening your experiences. So this existence card is, listen, if you're going to go out and look at the stars, are you going to be surprised if you see a falling star? Are you going to be surprised if you see a UFO? Are you going to be surprised if you can recognize constellations? No. That's part of looking at the sky. This is you looking at the bigger picture and taking some more in the next few days and weeks, or having experiences that are going to be a little unusual. Okay, Kat and Jared, we'll do your reading on Saturday at 3:30 your time. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you for booking that. So, Kat, and we'll talk about this more on Saturday. What you're really doing with this spa or with this new idea that you're moving into, forget about how it's going to work. Trust that it is going to work. But it's releasing it. The underlying, what you're really doing here, and I'm going to talk to everybody on the show. What you're really doing here is releasing people from a linear way of thinking. So no matter who's on the show, when you think about what it is that you're actually doing, so Dawn, wherever you're working, whatever that is that you're doing, think about it as releasing people from a cage. Now, you can open the door. Some people have agoraphobia, but over time, they eventually come to an understanding. This is you coming to a gradual, more and more better understanding of what's going on. But this is your ability to help people once you open the cage, to also help them feel safe about coming out of the cage. That's really what you're doing. And breaking away from very structured, limited thinking. And it's not good for you to hang around structured or limited thinking. You can only take so much, and your tolerance level is going way down to where you can become even more irritated. You don't have the bandwidth to put up with this structured thinking cage type of mentality. Like, and that's actually a good thing, right? And you don't have to. You actually don't have to. You can open the door for people. If they're not wanting to go through, fine. All right, Jared. All right. This is putting on a really great face. Like looking good, smelling good, being kind, being soft-spoken. But underneath, there's this surge of energy. It's called the rebel. It is absolutely pushing things energetically through with having just the greatest face on, right? It's like you're moving energy. You're moving energy around this. You're moving, you're creating what it is that you want, and you're moving it, and you're moving it. So, Lana, this would be a great thing for you to do. You're just really happy-go-lucky, really good. Smiles, everybody smiles. And then underneath, you're the rebel. You're pushing, you're moving this energy toward actualization of what it is you really want in your life and how you want it to be. And I know you can feel this, Jared, because I can feel it. It's like, and I can feel it, and everybody on the show that's watching right now is feeling it. It's like you move it through, you move the energy through, and it will happen for you. And then it also then moves away, it moves aside obstacles, or it goes around obstacles. It's the energy. It's like this huge flowing water. Yeah. Great, great card.
Jared says he's not sure anyone's ever called him soft-spoken.
Well, this is like speaking softly, but carrying a big stick inside, right? It's this using the energy of what it is you want to create. That's great. Okay. That's funny. All right. All right. And Linda Siegel, thank you so much for being here, Linda. Good. Can you hand me those papers on the chair, Kenan? The red chair. So, Linda, this is the, and I'm glad you're the last one on the show tonight, but not that I'm glad you're the last one on the show. Thank you. But what I mean is, I'm glad you're here because this is a great message for all of us. Let me read you this because you can't heal what you can't see. So your arm hurts. But if somebody's afraid to go to the doctor and you just keep saying, oh, you know what, it's just a sprain, it'll heal on its own, I'll just wrap it myself, you never really find out if it's fractured. So universe, show me now what I'm not, what I have not been able to see before. Excuse me. Universe, show me now what I previously was unwilling to see. Because if it was something logical, if the answer was logical to us, we could figure it out. We're all really, really smart, right? But that's not how the brain works. It's being able to look past belief systems, energies, being able to see energies, being able to communicate with these angels, guides, ancestors. They're both internal and external forces that shape who we are and how we deal with life and how we perceive our own reality, that cause us to make certain choices. Some are bad, and you help people to move those forces. In other words, it's not about being good or bad. It's just about moving that energy, like I was talking with Jared earlier. This is where your awareness is growing. So anywhere where you've been doubting your awareness, are you willing to let go of that? This is trusting your awareness, because it's opening up a new way of looking at things. It's looking past, being free of judgment on yourself. Trust your awareness. Steve Jobs said this, and I'll close the show with this to everybody. Steve Jobs said, intuition is a very powerful thing, more powerful than intellect. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down. It's made all the difference in my life. What if you could know what you don't know? What if you could know what you don't know? Universe, show me now what I don't know. I love you all. We'll do this again Sunday night. If you have any questions, call me, text me. If something comes up, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Okay? Love you all.